This is speech number 4, Johann Gonzalez.
Pretty interesting stuff, right? Let me ask you a question. Von Mar shooting, Omaha, Nebraska, December 5th, 2007. Columbine Massacre, Littleton, Colorado, April 20th, 1999. Virginia Tech shooting, Blacksburg, Virginia, April 16th, 2007. What do they all have in common? I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are all cops in here and you guys have been through my class. Active shooter. Sergeant Gonzalez, there he goes talking about active shooter. But today, I'm going to talk about something different. Another way that it was connected, that the public and the media found this glue, found this solution, had to find some kind of answer to why all these people were killing people in the schools, and they wanted to blame it on video games. As a law enforcement officer for many years now, I've experienced and seen multiple acts of violence. And one thing is for certain, nothing is the same. And you guys know that. When we go to a crime scene, everything's different, from blood splatter to motive to intent. But one thing remains the same. It's our job to get behind the truth. We have to figure out what got this person to conduct this act of violence, correct? You all agree? Today, I'll be talking about why video games are not a contributor. Sergeant Gonzalez, video games are not a contributor? You're telling me that even though the media has been telling me the whole time that kids playing video games for long periods of time are more susceptible to go ahead and conduct violence, you're telling me right now that video games are not the cause? They are not. This is a growing time. A time of technological prosperity. Every day it seems like there's a brand new cell phone, a bigger TV, a cell phone that can control your car. It doesn't matter. And you guys know this. Today's speech, I think, will give you guys a new perspective. We have a mother in one of the audience. We got people that are potential to be parents. And I want you guys to feel safe when you guys leave this brief, that when you go home and you want to buy your kid a video game, that you don't have to worry about the content. You don't have to worry about the dysfunctional mental status of how they're going to be after they play this video game. I think you guys are going to feel more comfortable after you leave my brief and won't be so quick to judge video games, the content of a video game, and the stuff that they actually do when they get home or when they start developing and they start getting a little aggressive. Sometimes it's not the video game. Man, thinking back, does anybody remember that first console, that first video game console they had? I know you're smiling. In front of the television, playing it for hours. I remember me playing Pong. That's the only controller that I had, was just going like this. You're smiling because you know it's true. My mom had to do everything short of dragging me away from the television. I was getting caffeined up with some soda, playing video games, and she used to be like, mijito, you need to get away from the television. And I was, not ahorita, not right now. You're getting into it, because it was cool, and that's what you used to see, kids playing video games. Then as I got older, the systems got more developed, so I was still interested in video games. But anybody that played video games in high school was a nerd. Y'all remember that? Instead of going out with your girlfriend, taking her out to a nice dinner or whatever, I was in my underwear playing Madden. So I was a nerd. That was the demographic, right? That's the only people you expected to play video games. Kids and nerds. And I believe it was, you had mentioned something about it before. Just like video games have changed though, so have the people playing it. This is 2012. So this is going to lead to my first point of what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the demographic. After the demographic, we're going to talk about some of the benefits of video games. You guys are so focused and caught up on the negativity of video games because you guys see violence, you guys are unaware of the benefits. And then I'm going to end with a little bit of Mythbusters. I love that show. I'm going to debunk some of the most memorable and notable cases that we've had involving violence as far as shootings. And I'm going to give you some facts you guys might have not known. Video games is supposed to be the result of why they did it, but I'm going to go ahead and give you some facts that might get you thinking, maybe it wasn't the video games. So let's go ahead and start with the brand new demographic. In an article written by a doctor, Michael D. Gallagher, in the U.S. News and World Report, he says the average age of a video gamer now is 35 years old. 35, and has been playing video games for 12 years. So 35 minus 12, you do the math. No longer is it little Tommy that's 8 years old hooked up on this television, and I'm sure you guys have seen some of those people. We're in the military, and what do? As soon as they get off of work, they go and play video games, right? I used to have a suite mate that wouldn't shower for days playing World of Warcraft. Age 35 and has been playing for 12 years. But everybody's saying that all these younger kids that are going out there and killing everybody are the only ones playing video games. This article was conducted by scientists and research dating back years and years and years. Procon.org did another statistic online, and they formed it in the form of a graph. Did you guys know that 40% of all gamers total in the United States, and in fact in the world, 40% of those are females? Female video game players. Before, you wouldn't think about a woman wanting to get in there, and she'd be like, man, my husband is such a nerd. My boyfriend is such a nerd. I hate games. But if you guys know and you guys see, looking at the Wii Fit, the consumers want video games that are going to be tailored to them, and that's what women wanted, so that's what we're doing. People making video games are tailoring it to women now, 40%. And here's another outstanding fact: 1 out of 4 out of the total number are over the age of 50. Old timers getting it in. Old timers getting it in. I'm playing some Pong, but now they're playing Road Rage, and that's the way that is. The demographic has shifted from one end of the scale, an 8-year-old little boy, to now we got a weird 35-year-old guy over here playing these video games. So now you know about the demographic. Weird. Are you guys stunned yet? It's kind of surprising. You guys are still in the back of your mind. We have young kids going to school shooting people up because they're playing video games. Sergeant Gonzalez is what you're telling yourself. But I just gave you a few statistics talking about that the majority of the people playing video games are over 35. And in fact, most of them are women. So, jumping into the second point. We talked about the benefits. I want to give you some benefits because when you guys think video games, all you think is violence, violence, violence. But here's a few things that you might have not known about video games that are going to just blow your mind. In a study conducted by Patrick Kiggart of the University of Essex, England, the Brits are getting in on it. They want to know what's going on. Investigating and researching a wide range of studies to include brain scans of gamers. They studied brain scans in a 5-year span and found that there is no link between playing video games and activations of regions in the brain causing aggression. So what does that mean in layman's terms? They scanned the brain and they focused on the part of the brain that actually allows us to be aggressive. In all the brain scans of all the gamers compared to normal people, there was no link in between that. In 2005, 1,360,088 violent crimes were reported in the U.S. compared to 1,423,677 the year before. How does that work? How does the number of violent crimes decrease as video games become broader? There's video games in every household right now. But the people want to say that video games are what's causing violence. But every year, violent crimes are decreasing. The military has also jumped aboard. This one hit close to home. The Army got it right. They're coming up with video simulators. They're coming up with video simulators right now, allowing people to come in and actually look and touch and feel and train what they're going to be doing in the military before they get in there. Their recruiting statistics kicked up by 20%. So, now you know who's playing the video games. We talked about the benefits. Now let's talk about the meat and butter. You guys are worried about these cases that are going right now in the United States, and you guys are relating it to violence. The media is saying it's violence, violence, violence. So right now I'm going to go ahead and debunk a little bit of facts for you. Columbine, Von Mar, there were horrible shootings and unexplainable acts that caused in the United States. No one could truly know what was going on in their mind, but one thing that I can tell you for sure is that it wasn't video games. Harrison Klebold from Columbine. Did you know that they were diagnosed with a type of schizophrenia? That there was multiple reports of them going to the hospital and talking to the counselors about them having an antisocial disorder. The perpetrator for Von Mar. Did you guys know that prior to his shooting, 2 weeks prior, he had been in 3 different psychiatric sessions where he had expressed how much he hated certain people, and he had a certain hatred for females. Once again, wasn't the video games. If that's not enough information for you guys to go ahead and start shifting your opinion about violence in video games and what it has to do with children, I don't know what is. So, what we covered today, I briefly went over the demographic. Who's playing the video games now? It's not children. So all the violence that's happening right now, it's caused by children. If they're not playing the video games, how's the video games making them do it? We talked about the benefits. There is good things that can come from playing video games. And then we ended with a little bit of Mythbusters. I've debunked some of the most known cases in the United States. And I gave you basic facts, scientific proof, medical proof that video games were not cause of why they committed these murders. Given all the horrible acts and acts of violence that have taken place everywhere, and the variety of people committing these crimes, I think we should ask ourselves, is it possible that there's other things other than video games that cause these people to do it? Can we just assume that maybe it could be bad parenting, it could be a lack of parenting, it could be medical issues, or could it just be that the person is just that aggressive and just has the intent and the ability to kill? When you guys go home and you guys put on that video game, think to yourself, is this video game going to make me want to kill somebody? Thank you.